All right, let's get started. Hey, I want you to think about your dream house, not kids ministry for a second. Let's think about your dream house. What does it look like, friends? Is it huge? Is it small? Is it um, is it decorated like modern and very contemporary, or are you more rustic and simple? Would you prefer to be out in the country somewhere and have lots of land around you and no neighbors for miles? Or would you like to be in a penthouse above a busy city and looking down at all the activity? You know, everybody has a different dream house. And just like a different dream house, you and I, we don't have to like exactly the same thing, do we? No. But a house has to be built with certain things in it in order for it to be built up and last. Really, think about some of the buildings that are just beautiful. I live close to Banff, Alberta, and I just marvel at the stone homes and buildings that were built so many years ago, and they're still standing strong. And do you know why that is? It's because it started with a good plan and a firm foundation, and then they could start to build on that. Now, that's what I want to talk to you about for this course. So let's just think for a moment. If we have a house, you have to have the blueprint so you know what you're doing, right? Then you have to have a foundation, because the foundation laid is your stability, and you don't want cracks in it. Uh, if anything happens to that foundation as you're building, like you got to go back to the foundation. So you want that. Then I'm sure you've heard it said about a cornerstone. Now, things have changed over the years, and I certainly am not someone who builds houses, just to clarify. But a cornerstone was used often in buildings years ago, and it would it'd be the first stone, and like everything was able to align with it so that your walls were straight. And it's a very important piece to have in on your foundation. And then we have pillars. These pillars are carrying the weight of the structure. So you got to make sure those are in place. Then you put support beams to go across. They bridge the pillars together. You can just imagine, right? It's giving more and more support. And then you have the walls on top of that. And I mean, really, when you think about it, that's when you actually start building and you can live inside that part. But all that other work had to be done. That's what this course is going to be for you. I want you to figure out the blueprints and the foundations and the support beams. I'm sorry, the pillars, then the support beams, and then the walls. You have to have that structure in place. And when you put these things there, that's when you will grow a thriving kids ministry. All right, we're going to need to have some tools in order to build this kids ministry. And you can see here, I've got a hammer, I've got measuring. This is a carpenter's ruler. This is a bulldozer to represent. Sometimes, like, you got to bring in some big tools, right? And an excavator, a bulldozer to clear out the land. And I don't know exactly where you are in your kids ministry. Some of you are stepping into maybe an existing kids ministry that has been doing quite well for a long time, but maybe it needs a little bit of adjusting on some areas, and you have some new dreams that you want to implement into it. You might be coming into a church that hasn't had kids ministry going at all for a long time, and you're like starting right from the ground up. I don't know the circumstance, but it doesn't matter, because what we're going to talk about here needs to be in every children's ministries. And I believe not only does the main leader need to know about this, I think all of your volunteers should understand the structure of this and how this fits together, because you never know where they can help you and be part of building the kids ministry. And so I like to call our tools measurements. The first one is why. Why are you part of kids ministry? Do you know your why? I believe that you are called to kids ministries. I really do. I think some of us can start not knowing we're called, but I think when you stay in kids ministries for the long haul, that's your why. It's because God has called you to do this. And I'm so glad that He did. But you might have more answers to that. And I'd like you to take a few moments and write down, why am I involved in kids ministries? Our next measurement is what? What is your motivation for being involved in kids ministries? Now, sometimes what can happen is that by default, we have stepped into the role because no one else would take it. Maybe you have children of your own, and now here you are. And you're like, I guess I'm leading this. I know that can be really, really hard. And God bless you for stepping in and doing that. But I'd like you to find out, what is your motivation? Why are you doing this? Why are you taking this course? What is causing you and motivating you to do this? Take a couple of minutes and write that down. The next measurement is who. Who is praying for you? I hope your lead pastor is praying for you. I hope that if you are married, that your spouse is praying for you. But maybe you have a dear friend. Maybe there's someone in the church that you know, that you feel like, I'd like to ask that person to pray for me. Do you know that that person is extremely important in kids ministries? Maybe they don't physically help in the classroom. Maybe they're not making crafts and different pieces to go with it. But they are vitally important if they are praying for you. Someone that you know that you can ask to pray specific things for, not necessarily for individual kids, but for you, as you try to figure out, what is it that God is asking you to do? I really encourage you to find two people to pray for you on a regular basis. The next measurement is where. Where are you getting training, and where are you taking time to rest? It's extremely important that you are continuing to learn skills, different ideas, but also that you are taking time to rest. And there are different transitions that happen within the year. You have busy, busy times, and then you have times where it's a lighter load. And yet I know some of you, you don't stop. You just keep going. And, you know, if you do not measure that, if you do not keep according to your blueprint, you will burn out. We don't want that. You love doing what you're doing. We love what you do, what you're doing. So I'm just saying, please be careful. What is your where? Where are you getting training? I applaud you. This course is great training for you, and I know you're going to benefit from it. There's so many other good resources as well, and you can bring them right into your church now. And then, where are you taking time to rest? Are you feeling like this is all about you? Is this all on your shoulders? You need to have that other person that we were talking about praying for you. We need to pray someone into your life so that you can release some of these things into their abilities, into their gifts, their talents. Okay? Because you have to be able to take some time to get away. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never been very good at that one, but that's why I'm telling you to do it now. If you have not built in a time of rest into your kids' ministry for yourself, time to get away with your family and not think about all the pieces of the church for a while, it's a really important thing to do if you want longevity in kids' ministry. All right, so we did the why, the what, the who, the where, and how. How are you going to manage your time? That kind of goes with the last one a little bit, but how do you manage your time even just on a daily basis? I don't know your circumstances, whether you have children at home, you might homeschool, you might go into the office, you might be part-time, you might be full-time. There's just so many different scenarios, but what does that day look like? Because if you just wing it every single day, you're going to start to feel overloaded that things aren't done. If you never delegate tasks and things to other people, you won't be able to keep up and manage your time well. You need to find out what is really important to you. What do you want to focus on? I love relationships. Like the people for me is so, so important. And then I would say the teaching and the props and different things so that kids will understand God's word. That to me is really, really important. And I had to learn how to manage my time. And I'm not just talking about like making a checklist and marking it off. I'm not actually. I'm saying that you need to spend your time wisely on the things that are important and on the things that you are good at. And then you need to learn to delegate to other people and give away the tasks that aren't necessarily so, well, let's just say they're not really your gifting. I'm not very good at administration. I am of people, but not of the paperwork. I would rather not do any of it. I'll just be honest. So I have to manage my time well. Is it important? Yes, I have to do that. But managing your time and then balancing that off with your family time is really, really important. So those are the measurements that we need to work on in kids ministry. And I know that if you put those things in place and figure that out and put that on your blueprint, you're going to benefit greatly.